welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Christina. I'm Eggy Mama. And today we're going to do actually something a little bit different when it comes to planning for the week. So I'm actually planning in retrospective perspective for the week of July 24th. So what happened this week was I went away. You may have seen it on a previous video. I went on a work trip, and what that meant was I just never got a chance to sit down and plan for that week. So instead, I'm actually going to treat this weekly spread as more of like a memory keeper. There won't be anything too exciting. It's more of like some big events and some activities that I've done during that week. So I'm going to first start with that week, Monday to Friday. My son Lewis was at camp, and it's actually a different camp than the previous weeks. It was actually a Scratch 101 coding camp, so he was really, really excited. It was a bit of a trek for us, or I guess more for my husband, because he had to do all the driving, drop-offs and pickups because I was in California. So my son really liked this camp. What can I say? It was a coding camp, and while that's awesome, it meant he spent majority of the day inside in front of a screen. And maybe I should have assumed that, but not my favorite. But it was just for 1 week, and he did learn to code, and he did build a little game, which we have yet to see, but we'll take a look when we're back from our vacation next week. So a typical morning, I woke up pretty early actually on Monday because I really wanted to wrap up my final edits for the YouTube video that was for packing. It was the Pack With Me work edition, packing actually for this trip. So once I edited that video, I got my day started for work, wrapped up some tasks and emails. I still had some meetings. And then I went ahead and scheduled my video to be published the following day. It was going to be published on Tuesday the 25th. I headed a little early to the Philadelphia airport because I need to get a haircut on my way out. So I visited Helen, who is my favorite stylist, who cuts my hair since it's really short. Flew out of Philadelphia, went to San Diego. My flight was at 7 p.m. and that meant I did not land until almost 11. My coworkers were there waiting for me. We rented a car and we drove to our hotel together. We're joking around that's kind of like a girls trip. We got in pretty late, a little after 11:30, which meant after check-in, I didn't actually make it into my hotel room until midnight. I was exhausted. So midnight Pacific time was 3 a.m., my usual East Coast time. Which this was really hard because Tuesday morning I woke up at 5 a.m. local time to get through my typical work meetings, and because I had some meetings that were already scheduled before I knew I was going to be on the West Coast, but didn't want to cancel anything, so just went ahead and took care of those. I did have a short window of time in between my early morning meetings and then my late morning meetings, so I went downstairs to the Sheraton restaurant and met with my coworkers, and we had a really lovely breakfast. So after my meetings in the early afternoon wrapped up, we headed out to the actual reason why we were in San Diego. So we went to one of our customers' offices, their headquarters in Carlsbad. And the meeting was about 3 hours long, and it was fantastic. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better meeting. I mean, the main stakeholder was saying things like, this is so impressive. It's so intuitive. You've come hundreds of miles from the last time I've seen this. So it just made me feel really good because I felt like we really turned a corner with this product. Made it home in time to do a quick family FaceTime, and then went back downstairs to have dinner with my coworkers again at that same restaurant. Called it a night fairly early because Wednesday morning, yet again, it was going to be another early morning of meetings. actually had back-to-back meetings and not enough time to really even go downstairs and have breakfast. So I went ahead and had breakfast sent up via room service. And I think this was maybe like at 7 a.m. Then I quickly got changed and got ready and had to drive out to San Diego downtown to the local WeWork there to meet our sales team for a training that my colleague and I were leading. The training was great. It was a full 2 hours. I think we actually went over a little bit, and I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to that particular sales team and those individuals because I had to jump into another customer meeting, and I was already about 5 to 7 minutes late, so I felt horrible, but it's a work day. Once those late afternoon meetings wrapped up, my coworker and I grabbed a really late lunch. I think it was about 3 p.m. We went to a Thai restaurant around the corner, and then we got in a car and headed out for a 4-hour drive up from San Diego to Thousand Oaks. The drive typically is about 2.5 hours to 3 hours, and with traffic, but we talked the whole time, and I really got to know her. So I thought it was a great trip. All right, yet another early morning the following day. It's my last day in California. I started a little bit later, started about 8 a.m. on Thursday morning, and I did have a few minutes to run downstairs to the lobby and grab a quinoa, kale, egg breakfast bowl thing. I wrapped up my morning, got ready for my afternoon meetings, and ran out to go meet my coworkers for lunch at a restaurant called Lure. It was actually it was really good, but it was a bit of a rushed lunch because we needed to make it to the customer office in time for our 1:30 meeting. That meeting was also really great, really fantastic. It's just so nice when you sit down with a customer and they really understand your company's vision and our values. So I just, with all these meetings and how positive they were, it just felt like a worthwhile trip. I'm so glad I did it. From there, we headed out for a 2-hour drive to the Los Angeles airport. I dropped my coworker off because her flight was earlier than mine, and she actually made it just in time to board the plane. So it was a bit stressful, but she was really calm, so I was really impressed. I returned the rental car and hung out until about 10 p.m. for my red-eye flight to Philadelphia. I actually managed to sleep about an hour and a half, 2 hours on that flight. It was pretty restless. I think I was waking up every half an hour or so because it was just so uncomfortable. But, the important thing was I made it home safe, and I landed around 7 a.m. and just hustled it to my car and made it home around 7:40. I was so excited. My whole family, including my dog, ran out to meet me, and I was just so glad that I was able to catch my son before he headed out for his last day of camp. I was able to get a few hours of sleep, and then I had to wake up because there was a training or a meeting that I was leading, so I couldn't miss that. And then actually after that meeting, I ran out to our local H Mart to grab a quick lunch. Came back, wrapped up my day, and because it's the last day before I headed out for vacation, as you can imagine, there's so much to do. Took care of any outstanding tasks and emails, and then I think I called it a day around 5 p.m. Took a few minutes to hang out with the family, and then we gathered ourselves up and we went out to a local hibachi restaurant to go watch a chef cook on the big grill for us, and nice little show there, huge portions, so I've been eating my leftovers the whole weekend. Once we came home and my son went to sleep, I also just dragged my body to the bedroom and went to bed myself. I was exhausted. So now we're at Saturday with a lot of things to do to get ready for our trip tomorrow. Not much left in the house, but we did have some bread and 3 eggs. So I made some French toast for the family and some hash browns, which are always super yummy. The hash browns from Trader Joe's is very similar to the hash browns you might get at McDonald's, so we love it. My son's room was a bit of a disaster. Toys everywhere, Pokemon cards everywhere. So the 3 of us kind of settled into his room and we did a massive cleanup. And I actually must have organized and put away, gosh, like 200 Pokemon cards, maybe more than that. My husband and I wrapped up our packing for the most part and took note of things that we were missing. Like we needed to get a few more bottles of sunscreen, so we took care of that. I realized I only had 2 bathing suits for the whole trip, so went out to see if I can find anything last minute. I also need to get my nails done, so as you can see, I got my nails all beautified. And then the last thing was, it's end of the month, so we did our family budgeting and accounting meeting to wrap up the month of July and compare for our spend from last month and think about, what we would need to adjust for a successful August. We have a few Airbnb guests who are checking out this weekend and also another set of guests checking in while we're in Mexico. So I just wanted to make sure everything was squared away and that they're all set with the right information. So take care of, some Airbnb logistics. So I have some to-dos for tomorrow before we head out to the airport. We're going to be leaving fairly early because our flight is at 11 a.m. So on our way out, we're actually going to go visit our tenants at our downtown house and just check out the house because they're moving out this weekend. So we just want to make sure that everything is in good shape. We still have a rent to collect, so hopefully they'll have that for us tomorrow. And while we're there, I want to deposit some cash in the bank so I could put that away so we could pay back our credit cards. And then our vacation will officially start. We're going to go to the airport and we're flying Spirit. So wish me luck, guys. Wish me luck that we actually get there. Some things I'll need to do once we get there is book a massage for my husband and I, and then we have dinner planned. So that's it. That was the week for me. I hope you enjoyed how I recap the week. This way, I don't have to worry too much about blank pages in the planner. Oh, and one last thing. When I was at the airport, I found this sticker at one of the souvenir shops, and I just really loved it. And I'm sure you can't tell from here, but it has this like almost plastic or vinyl feel, so I'm sure it's something that you could put on a water bottle, but I really wanted to have it for my memories, to keep it in my planner. It's actually a lot bigger than I remember, so I'm just gonna throw it right here in my first few pages of the planner. This is kind of where I'm going to be dumping some stickers and some ideas just to kind of have, inspiration, whatever, things that make me happy, I guess. So that's it, folks. That is the week in retrospect for the week of July 24th. Hope you have a good one.